Alrighty, well, welcome everyone to this week's The Responsive Weekly. This week we have somebody new joining us, Hillary, who is recently joined Virtuous, and she's in charge of content and education. So, Hillary, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can dive in.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm excited to be here, and I would love to just start by kind of getting to know everyone a little bit. I live in the DC metro area. I've recently joined Virtuous. So if you wouldn't mind popping into the chat and saying where in the country or the world you sit and what organization you work with, I would love to hear it. Give me a little bit of context as we move forward. So you can just pop in there. Oh, an acronym. Okay. NH, PBS. Oh, that makes sense, Terry. North Carolina. Nova. That's where I am, Danielle. Cool. I work with Habitat in Gulfport, Mississippi, Tampa, Florida, North Carolina. So a lot of Eastern time zone. You're probably like having your lunch right now, like I am. Cool. Maine, Crisis and Support, Menlo Park, St. Patrick's Seminary, Twin Cities, Minnesota. Very fun. Cool. Well, welcome everyone. I'm excited to be with you today. Today, we are talking about Giving Tuesday and the end of year fundraising that is coming for us hot and fast. And what's interesting about Giving Tuesday and really end of year giving as a whole is we can really get a little bit of tunnel vision on getting those dollars in on Giving Tuesday, reaching those specific financial goals. But really this Giving Tuesday and this end of year season is really a time that we can focus on strengthening a connection for a long-term relationship with a donor. And so I want you to think about, Giving Tuesday, what might you be doing to strategically use it and this season of generosity in general to strengthen your connection to your donors. So hop in the chat, tell us how you're using Giving Tuesday to really strengthen your connection with donors. I want to share some ideas with you about that. Let me pop up in the chat again. It really is. This is a good time to remember that donor loyalty is earned through connection, and that connection really does require engagement over and above financial giving. I mean, you want your donors to be passionate advocates for your organization and for your cause. You want them to proudly wear a mask with your logo on it. You want them to proudly be sharing your content on their social media. So this is an opportunity to really connect and really build that connection with them. So Susan said they're doing a thank you video and email and then asking for support. That's a fantastic idea. Snail mail newsletter from Kelly, personal phone calls. Man, I feel like there's nothing quite as effective as a personal phone call and personal conversation. Let's see what Christina said. Instead of asking for money, our staff and board members will be making phone calls and writing cards to say thank you and talk a little bit about what their investments are doing for the community. That's great. And Matthew.
I really like that one from Christina about going the extra mile and getting their board involved and really not just thanking the donor, not just thank you for your $25, but here's what your investment did in the community. Here's how it's advancing our mission. Donors really, really crave knowing that they're having an impact, and closing the loop with them is it's a great way to not only build that connection, but over time build trust with them.
Absolutely. And I think, the storytelling aspect of like, here's specifically what your donation did. Here's how it changed this one life or this one situation. That's really, really powerful. Oh, I have a lot of responses. Let's see. We're tying Giving Tuesday in with an annual event and a tree lighting ceremony. Oh, that's fun. We're planning to give a free resource of an online study that was popular among older donors, renewing of the older course to an online format, repurposing. That's great. And Giving Tuesday is not a huge moneymaker for us. So this will lead into our year-end giving ask. Cool. I want to give you a couple of ideas of some other ways that you can use Giving Tuesday in this end of year season to really ramp up engagement with donors. I mean, like we've said before, and I think we're going to bring it back up in a little bit, but the founder of Save the Children said, people aren't ungenerous, they're unimaginative and busy at the end of the day. Like, they want to give to your cause. They want to make a difference with their money. They want to leave a legacy, but they don't always know exactly what to do. And they're not, spending all their waking hours and waking up in the middle of the night thinking about like what they can do for your organization. So it's a good idea to share ideas with them. So here's a few to kind of get your wheels turning. First of all, obviously, peer-to-peer fundraising. Invite supporters to be part of the campaign and rally together to reach your goal. I think about how big Facebook fundraising is right now. Like, any of us can hop onto Facebook right now and start a fundraiser on our personal page, and thousands of organizations that Facebook won't ever take any kind of fee. You get every single dollar that's donated. So that's easy, low-hanging fruit that you can recommend to your donors, to your constituents. Another idea is social amplification, creating stories designed to be shared. The gold star of fundraising really is Charity Water, right? And their ability to storytell. Well, they have done campaigns in the past where they've encouraged people to share social media content about water statistics. And if you share it, then there's going to be a match donation for that share. So if there's a way for you to get your people to amplify your messages on social media and give them a little bit more payoff for that, that's great. And then, general word of mouth. Literally ask your donors to ask their friends to give. Ask your donors, ask your supporters to ask people in their networks to give. And another one is in the workplace. Make it easy for colleagues to come together during this time of the year when they might be doing holiday parties or whatnot. Instead of maybe doing holiday gifts for clients, they could donate to your organization in the client's name, or maybe departments, have some sort of like friendly competition between one another to fundraise. There's lots of different things. There's lots of different ideas that you can give them for different ways of engaging, different ways of them really rallying with your cause and really showing in a really meaningful way that they really believe in the work that you're doing. So Jeff, did you want to chat about the 80%?
Yeah, actually, before we do, I did see in the chat a couple of kind of interesting ideas of what people are doing. So both Stephen and Trish mentioned that they're kind of tying some of their Giving Tuesday activities with events, which is kind of an interesting take on things. And Stephen, it sounds like you're maybe doing a digital event this year because of everything going on with COVID and everything like that. Am I getting that right, Stephen? And can you provide a little more context maybe on how you're kind of expanding on Giving Tuesday, or maybe some of the specific ways you're going to be using Giving Tuesday to drive that event? And for Trish, are those two separate events? Is the Giving Tuesday campaign that you guys are running? Are you tying that to an event later in December, or is it the next week? Like, how are those things tied together? I'm interested to hear more. And I really like the idea of taking Giving Tuesday and making it a bigger thing, which it sounds like you guys are doing. So rather than just doing the standard, series of 3 emails, hoping to get another $50 gift, you're providing a way to get donors involved, and you're providing a way for them. You're actually giving something back to them. There's this event that they can participate in. So I really like those that kind of take on Giving Tuesday, and I'd love to hear more if you could drop that in the chat. Sorry, I'm trying to jump around between windows here, Hillary. We were talking about the, you wanted to transition over to the 80%, is that correct?
Well, yeah, but Stephen did respond. He said he just finished an online gala appeal. He's wondering how or whether to use Giving Tuesday, seeing as he's about to kick off the end of year appeal. How do I use Giving Tuesday without overwhelming the donors? What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Sorry, I'm jumping all around here. Yeah. Yeah, so you definitely don't want to overwhelm your donors. You could use Giving Tuesday rather than having a specific gift ask for them. Have other things that they can do. Share on social media, like we talked about.
Right.
Commit to getting them involved in maybe presenting it to their employer. There's lots of corporate matching programs that employers will use as a benefit to their employees. So that's a way they can get involved. Depending on the line of work that you're in, sometimes there can be corporate sponsorship of events, or they would agree to volunteer as a company. You see stuff like that with Habitat for Humanity or Susan G. Komen, where they get involved in walks and those kinds of things. So there are other things that you can ask your donors to do outside of just the financial support. And it really kind of depends on your team, their capacity, your specific mission, and what opportunities you have for your donors.
Yeah, and I think that, like we were kind of saying in the beginning, maybe you want to let Giving Tuesday be a day that you really just focus on that donor connection, that you focus on enabling them to really amplify your message and share your story. So maybe you equip them with social media content to share. Maybe you send them swag and ask them to take a picture in their, your organization mask or hat or whatever it might be. I mean, I just think it's a great opportunity to really embolden them to really raise their hand and say, this is an organization that I believe in. This is an organization that I support, whether it's through my end of year donation, whether it's through volunteer hours, and whether it's through me just sharing like my small or large sphere of social influence. Like, I mean, it was just a couple of weeks ago, I'm sure you guys saw that Scarlett Johansson got married, and they gave the news to Meals on Wheels America to share on their Instagram to share their social capital with that nonprofit. Like, first of all, brilliant and generous and easy for them to do, So I think, like, what are the creative ways that we can recommend and the ideas that we can give our supporters to really make a difference at this end of year season?
Yeah, that's great. I really like that idea of lending your social capital, lending your voice to a cause. There are so many people that would be willing to do that have maybe they have as few as 100, but that's 100 other people that would hear about your cause. Some other supporters may have thousands of people that they can help introduce to your mission. There's a question in here in the chat from Sean about like how far out can the event be from Giving Tuesday? I mean, obviously you don't want to have something, next spring or next summer. The closer the tie to Giving Tuesday, probably the better. But, a donor exclusive event in January, like you're talking about, I don't think that's that far off. Giving Tuesday this year, it's always that first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And unfortunately, the way the calendar lined up this year, it landed in December. And so we're kind of having to balance year-end campaigns with Giving Tuesday and our thank you appeals around Thanksgiving. But certainly a January event, it's only 4, 5, 6 weeks out. I wouldn't think that's too far out. And I'd say go for it. I think it will be effective. Donors like receiving value from the organization as well. And so if there's something that you're giving back to them, I would say go for it. You want to provide value to your donors as well. So it's not always just give, do. It's a partnership. And if you had, a friend or a partner that was nothing but, hey, give me, it would wear on you, and it would wear on that relationship. So giving back and giving them other ways to participate in the cause is a great thing, Sean. We had started to go over to that 80%. We're talking about all these different ideas of how you can help encourage donors to be creative. And the reality there is you're going to have to do kind of a lot of that work. There's a lot of groundwork to lay if you're going to start peer-to-peer campaigns or social campaigns or a big event. So there's really a lot of that work is kind of on your shoulders. We estimate around 80% of the work is there, kind of laying that groundwork. And the remaining 20% is really just giving them tangible suggestions on how they can get involved. And donor signals can help indicate an affinity towards advocacy. So, are donors going on your website and viewing specific areas of your mission? Do they have a big social following, like we talked about before? Knowing that information and having those data points in your CRM, in your marketing tools, goes a long way towards targeting the right people with the right message at the right time.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I think it's just important to know your donors and to give them the tools that they need to really support you, to give them ideas, to have a thoughtful, intentional marketing plan. Like you were asking, when should we do this event, or is this too long? I think so much of it is just being clearly communicating with them, having a clear strategy in place, having a consistent messaging across social, across your website, across your email, across, the letter that you send them in the mail, the direct mail, like having that consistent message to where they feel known and they feel like they really understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and how you can partner together to make the world a better place.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really about having that consistent conversation over and over and over across all of your channels. Just like you said, whether it's direct mail or your website or your social media presence, being able to have that same conversation over and over and over really meets donors where they're at. For me, I'm big on email and digital communication. For other supporters, it may be direct mail and newsletters. It may be phone calls. It may be text messages. So being able to meet donors where they're at is key. Trish also responded, and this maybe kind of gets us into the kind of last section here. She responded about their year-end event and also touched on that they're going to be doing a text-to-donate campaign, peer-to-peer and sponsorship of the tree. I love that. It's there are other ways that donors can support you. Again, meeting them where they're at. For your donors that are maybe on the younger side, text-to-give campaigns can be great. Or peer-to-peer for people that have a large social influence. That's really, really great. But we'd like to hear what some of your other kind of big ideas and obstacles are. What are your big ideas around building donor loyalty? What are some of the things that we haven't talked about that are maybe outside of Giving Tuesday? And what are some of the challenges that you're seeing uh, either in an execution kind of way or in an internal way, getting the rest of your team on board or having the right resources and technology? Just jump in the chat and send us your thoughts and feedback there. Hillary, what are some of the other things that you're seeing outside of Giving Tuesday around building donor loyalty?
I mean, the bottom line when it comes to building donor loyalty is really connecting with them. So, having a thoughtful thank you message after that first gift, getting to know the habits of how they want to be communicated to. I just think that there's so much potential for using marketing automation and for using the technology that's at our fingertips today to really connect with people in the way that they want to be connected to. But I think, driving donor loyalty, always reminding people of the difference that they're making. They're the hero of this story. You as the organization are like the guide. Like they are the Luke Skywalker. You are the Yoda. You know what I mean? Like, let's not ever get it backwards. Like, you are not the hero of the story. Your donor is. So in every bit of messaging, it's got to relate that and show them the difference that they're making and show them, the journey that they're on in this process of supporting your cause and really changing the world. I think we've got a couple of comments here about building donor loyalty in more of a macro perspective. Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually a little bit similar as well. So Matthew's talking about building a membership model, which works great for a ton of nonprofits. Matthew, I'd love to hear what are the ways that your organization is going to kind of give back to the donor in that membership model? Are there benefits, or is it more kind of identity based, kind of creating an identity around a group that the donor can participate in? And Stephen kind of mentioned something similar about having a robust recurring giving program. I love recurring giving programs. There's a lot of organizations that's all they do. And, when you think about child sponsorship models, or in some ways, Charity Water had some aspect of that recurring giving program that was a big central part of what they did, in addition to their peer-to-peer programs and I'm going to give up my birthday. But yeah, again, going back to the membership model, I love having groups that a donor can be a part of that helps provide them some identity, and they're getting back from the organization as well.
Absolutely. It makes me think about how popular Patreon is now for supporting like artists and creatives of all types. And that's all built on, these people are supporting, this podcast or artist or whatever, and they're getting something for it, right? They're getting some sort of exclusive access. They're getting information early. They're getting extra content. So like, what can you possibly provide that are those extras that really make people feel like they're a part of something special and they're like on the inside? I think that you can do that, of course, with your major donors, but I think you can do it with like mid-level donors too. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we actually have somebody from PBS on, and PBS and NPR have been like experts at this. I'm going to support at this level on a regular basis, whether it's monthly or quarterly or however you set up that recurring gift program. And then they're giving back. There's this. I'm a gold member supporter, so there's that identity again that I was talking about. But then there's also something tangible. I get some kind of premium or some kind of resource in exchange for that, whether it's, a t-shirt or a hat or the tote bag or whatever it is. And Matthew responded again about exploring lots of different identities that they're exploring. But they're looking for making memberships an opportunity for networking, which is great. Being able to connect donors not only with the organization and the cause, but connecting donors together. I really, really love that idea of building community.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I think maybe skip forward just a couple slides.
Yeah.
We have a couple of more questions. Yeah, so let's wrap up. I think we've got a few more minutes. Oh, we don't have that many more minutes. Okay, we have like 3 more minutes. Just really quick, I'd love to hear, if you haven't shared in the chat yet, what your plan is for Giving Tuesday this year and how you're connecting donor loyalty to that. And then while you're doing that, maybe Jeff wants to share something else.
Yeah. Jumped too far ahead. If you're interested in learning more about how technology can help drive some of these things, we talked about really knowing your donor and what they're visiting on your website and what their social media platforms look like, if they have any, and what they're sharing and who their friends are. Technology can really do a lot of the heavy lifting there for you. And Virtuous does some of those things. And if you're curious about learning more, or you're having specific challenges with your technology, or being able to connect with donors in meaningful ways, visit virtuous.org. Go check it out. We've got people that are ready to help you and hear from you and learn what some of those challenges are. You can reach out and we can have one of our nonprofit experts get back to you and start to learn about what some of your specific challenges are. And we'd like to offer you the responsive fundraising pack. So we've got a playbook with different ways you can be more responsive to your donors. Really kind of a tailor-made book of different tactics and strategies that you can put in place to build better relationships with donors with where they're at. So if that's interesting to you and you think that might help your organization, just send us an email to responsive@virtuous.org with the subject line TRW, and we'll get back to you and send you those resources. We would love to be able to do that.
TRW to responsive@virtuous.org. So you can get some free stuff. 100 pages of a blueprint and a playbook. That's so helpful. Yep. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but I just want to read a couple of these other things that people are doing for Giving Tuesday and driving donor loyalty. Sarah said to really use Facebook to get our information out about all of our ministries and what they're doing. We plan to have information posted each hour to spotlight ministries, as well as short 2 to 3 minute interviews with ministries about what they're doing to further the kingdom. I think video is so powerful right now. Podcasting is so powerful right now. Conversations like this are so powerful right now. So right on about interviews. Chip said we're producing a video to push out to our donors. We use various media outlets. I think both of those are fantastic ideas.
Yeah, that's great. And we love to see that you guys are being creative, thinking outside of the box and going beyond just will you give us another $35 gift? You guys are doing great. Again, if you're interested in learning more, virtuous.org, and we'd love to connect with you further. We're out of time. Unfortunately, I'd love to keep on going, but I wanted to thank Hillary for joining this week. And thank you all for taking 30 minutes out of your schedule. I know you guys are really, really busy. And so we really appreciate you taking this time to connect with us. I thought it was a great conversation today.
Yeah, my wheels are turning, definitely. Go donor loyalty. We'll see you right here next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.